For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of top fuel funny car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to WFO Radio. I'm Joe Castello, and we've got a great show for you here this week. Richard Freeman of Elite Motorsports is going to be our guest for the hour as we delve into Pro Stock, the state of Pro Stock, his team. They've won 4 in a row, and obviously a very interesting character out there in the world of the National Hot Rod Association that maybe, believe it or not, considering his, boisterous personality, flies slightly under the radar. Is that possible? We'll speak with him moments from now. I ask you to share the show if you're a fan of Pro Stock. Simple as that. If you're a fan of Pro Stock, share the show. If you're going to repost on X, if you're going to put it out there any which way, our YouTube channel, I want this one to get out there because we're going to have a very deep and interesting conversation. I want to flash the logos of the people who make it possible. I will tell you about them all individually later on in the show. But without all these folks, I wouldn't be able to do interviews like this one. Let's bring him on. He's joining us now from Elite Motorsports, home base in Wynnewood, Oklahoma, Mr. Richard Freeman. What's up, Richard? How are you?
Not much, Joe. How are you?
I'm great. In advance, happy 4th of July. Big holiday. I understand you got some big plans going, and a nice way that like the first half of the season is now over.
Yep. Is it over? I don't even know how many races we've been to, but yeah, it's we're fixing to crawl into the Western Swing, and it gets serious from here on out if it hadn't already been serious. So excited about that.
4 races till the countdown, 10 in the books. I'm wondering, this is the first year of Pro Stock being back as a full-time class. I know some folks pushed back on that. I know some folks wanted that. I can't imagine you guys running fewer races than you are right now. What a great story it has been. And we only have 3 races before the U.S. Nationals. It feels like the season is, we're almost over.
Yeah, it goes by quick when you get rolling. You're not home much. You're working to try to keep stuff together. I mean, my trucks and trailers just got back in. Haven't been home since Epic, and so we got a lot of stuff going on in the shop, and people want to take off for the 4th. So we're trying to coordinate all that and get ready for Seattle and Sonoma.
Yeah, it's going to be the Western Swing. Pro Stock, I've said it. I'd like your opinion. Never healthier. Yes, 2 sources of power, you and KB, although the McGaheys had a pretty good weekend this past week. Maybe they're turning the ship, but anyone can win, and judging by the results, that is the case. But give me your state of the category to start us off.
I am so proud of Pro Stock. 5 years ago, we were staring down the gun barrel, and myself, Chris McGahey, the guys at KB, we all come together and we made some adjustments in our programs. I tell people all the time, back in 2010, 12, all those years, it cost $2 million a year to run Pro Stock, and today it's not quite half of that, but it's cheaper and more feasible for people to get the things that are needed to compete, and I think our class shows that.
Clearly. Aaron Stanfield, back-to-back wins. Prior to that, Jeg and Troy go back-to-back. Erica wins the Gator Nationals. So already you've been able to spread victories throughout the team. Christian Quadra running very well with that Frank Iaconio power. I always root for Frank. He's such a legacy. He's been involved since the first 500 cubic inch engine and long before that, but he won the first 500 cubic inch race. You've, in my opinion, achieved a more balanced team in 2024. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we strive for is to make sure that our customers have the opportunity to compete and compete to win. And I think our program shows that. Erica's had some about the last 5 races. She's struggled a bit, as she said, but don't count her out. But what we like to say is, if one don't get you, here comes the rest of them. And so Aaron Stanfield has done a fabulous job behind the wheel of the second JHG car, and won 2 races. Jake Coughlin with the Skag car, he's won 2 races. TJ's run well. It's funny to watch, because you go to some of these races and you see some of those cars struggle, and they just come off winning. Look at Jag, he won Bristol, and we've kind of struggled with his car. So, man, it really doesn't matter where you qualify. You can win, no doubt.
Yeah, it's been great. And I look forward to what we're about to experience, right? As it gets more intense. We did have some intensity at the start of the season, though. I feel like the whole manifold row is in the rearview mirror. It got hot for a minute. Maybe it's just cooling down because we're in the mid-season, and in the countdown it will. But it seems that has passed. Do you feel like that was handled as well as possible?
Yeah, I think it's fine. There's everybody has their own opinions and thoughts. That manifold deal was nothing more than it was a rule in place that kind of got overlooked during the COVID years. And it is what it is. I believe it, as you can tell, it sure hadn't hurt the people that were involved in that. I mean, they qualify at the top all the time, and should. They've got great power, and it's one of the best teams out there. And one of the reasons I even got into Pro Stock was to chase that. And so, I believe our class is in a fantastic spot. You hear all the time, I wish there were Fords, and I wish there were Dodges. And, what people don't understand is people run what is available. And those other factories just haven't supported the class. And therefore, you don't see a lot of those cars out there, and we run Fords, of course, with, I would say, GM power. At the end of the day, we struggle more with those cars because, again, what people don't understand, it doesn't matter what's under the hood. There's lots of other factors, the front ends of the cars, the way the air comes in, and we try to run those like our Chevrolets, and they just don't perform the same. So just a lot of competitive problem solving, Joe. That's what we call it.
Which I love it. That's what's great about it. You see smart people who work hard, tackle a challenge, and everything's easy until there's someone in the other lane trying to beat you doing it. For instance, like this guy Jimmy, who is I've known this guy since I was 15 years old at Miami Hollywood Speedway. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Mopar guy, and he's like, "What about Mopars? Like, what if we give them less weight?" I don't want to see that. I want to see Pro Stock be Pro Stock. But do you have an opinion on that now? As questions are coming in and people are taking this in different directions. Weight breaks, helping with RPM, changing it, moving it. Do you have an opinion on any of that stuff, or do you want to see it as it is?
Well, I think it's great where it is. I like to say it's a Pro Stock engine. Again, if you go back in the old days, people could build the motors in their garages or their own shops and do a lot of that stuff. Head porting was done on a bench. Listen, things change, and we're in a time of motorsports where things just change. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. You cannot just say, I'm going to go run a Dodge or I'm going to go run a Ford. Where do you get the parts? They don't make them. And I was involved with the Mopar stuff. Love the brand. Love all about it. But if you can't compete with it, then you can't run it. And when you go out there and you have a program like my own or the McGahays or KB's, and you go look at Brandon Miller, great kid, and he's got involved with AJ and his father, and they're doing his motors, and hope to God that they can do something. But you can only do it so long. If you're not competitive, you can't do it. So, I don't think weight breaks and things like that solve anything. We would love to see the factories get involved, but just to be real frank, they're not. So, and they, at the end of the day, guys, they don't need to be there. You talk about people being on Manufacturers Row, the internet, things change that. And no one's going to go build a trailer and bring it to the Midway when they can do the same thing from their desk at home. Now, you can agree or don't agree, but that's just the way it is. So I say you embrace where we're at and keep doing what we're doing.
I agree. No, I the Facebook and the social media and the targeting marketing campaigns, you can get someone on their phone, on their mobile device, and you know what they like based on their profile, which is being sold by the social media companies to these things. Like, of course, it makes perfect sense. Are you where you need to be with parts from Chevrolet? I remember a couple of years ago, and I don't know how public it ever got, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to bring it out, but there was some questions about blocks and parts and castings, and Pro Stock good on that point?
Yes. And that's, again, one of the things that GM has just been more involved. We've talked about Toyota. We would love to have them involved. But when you break it down and the money that would have to be spent to develop an engine platform, what's the value in it for them? Zero. So we understand that. Chevrolet, GM Performance Parts has been very good about, regardless if they're spending money, they continue to produce the parts that we can get. And that's why it's prominent in the class.
All right. Before we go further, I want to congratulate Royce, because I don't know, that was amazing, right? Like, he buys the car. As I understand it, I would like for you to tell the story from your perspective, right? That car that you drove a couple of years back, sitting in the corner of Elite Motorsports shop, not doing anything. Royce decides he's going to buy it and go comp racing with one of your Pro Stock engines and an automatic transmission, be-altered automatic. And dude wins his second race out, and he's like, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy. But that's an amazing accomplishment. What's your version of this?
I'll tell you a little bit about that car. What people don't know, that was V. Gaines' car. So I drove that car in Topeka for V. Gaines. And when I bought V's entire program, we had that car sitting here, and a very nice piece. And we talked about some different ways to do it. And I said, hey, that probably the easiest thing to do is put a 500-inch motor in it, leave it fuel injected. Could we go faster with carburetors and a hood scoop and things like that? Maybe. But we get an opportunity to run some tires and do some different things like that. And Royal C bought the car. We put one of our 500-inch motors in it and put automatic behind it, run it be-altered automatic. And it's kind of an extension of our program. And he did a great job there at the second race. We went to Virginia and had some transmission issues, converter issues, and got those kind of rectified. And goes out there at the second race there in Norwalk and wins his first national event ever. So it was a cool deal for our program to be able to do that.
I wish we had a little more time on that stage. Unfortunately, with the television and Fox and the blimp flying around up there, we only had a limited amount of time, because I know Royce wanted to mention your dad like that. What would he think?
Oh, he'd love it. I mean, I've won a national event in comp and got to do that with Dad standing there. And all of this stuff that we do today was an extension of my dad's passion for this sport. And he run Pro Stock back in the 80s and factory modified and quit in 1980, actually, when it went to the 500-inch, couldn't keep up, right? And so he got to live his final days getting to enjoy seeing all of us do what he wanted to do. And we couldn't be more proud to carry on his legacy out here in the sport.
Let's take a step back, because I got a lot of questions. I mentioned on the Ignition show you were going to be on, and some people emailed me that we see you a lot, but they wanted to know the origin story a little bit more. This is a massive organization. You employ a lot of people. You've got cars in multiple categories. We're going to go down that road in a second, but can you catch the people who do not know up to how did you get to this point? I think a lot of people, myself included, Richard, honestly, thought you guys were, born on an oil field or something, and, just had a stack of dollars behind you and decided to go racing. I've done some research. I know that's not the case, but, give me the early days version of the story. Like you guys, the brothers, your dad liked racing, but it's not like, how did you get here? Give me that.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I went to, I grew up in a small town, Lindsay, Oklahoma, right where Jerry Don Tucker is from. My grandfather and my father were in the car business up until 1992. I was actually in my first year of college at Southeastern Oklahoma State University. Both of my brothers worked for my dad, and our family went through some hard times. My family ended up losing 2 car dealerships, and we struggled as a family from about 1992 to 97 for about 5 years. My brothers had to go get jobs at other dealerships because that's what we knew. I was in college. I finished my college career at Southeastern. I worked for a guy named Larry Dyson down there, who allowed me to stay involved with racing. I used to stand at the back of Warren Johnson's pits, and we were always involved in competition eliminators. So while everybody thinks we're just a bunch of rich people, that couldn't be further from the truth. Everything we've done has been through a lot of hard work. And how I started Elite Motorsports, I was actually in the Ford business with a really good friend of mine, and here in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, where I'm still at, and ended up selling out in 2005, and called Michael Brotherton, who run Champion at the time. And I said, hey, I'm thinking about building a facility and want to get in the truck and trailer business. And that was in 2005. And when we did that, Michael drove back and forth from Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex. And at that time, I had never drove. My brother Robert drove in competition eliminator and pro stock truck for a short stint. And so we got in the business and started running comp. And I had some success. We won the Jegs All-Stars. I won a national event in Dallas in 2005, I believe. Went to some final rounds, won some division races. And in 2007, I decided I wanted to do some heads-up racing, so I went to Mountain Motor Racing. And that's where I met Frank Gugliotta, JR Carr, and we put a 3-car program together. Did very well in 2008 and 9. And then NHRA decided they sold out. And so at that point in time is when I decided, hey, I'm going to try my hand at NHRA Pro Stock. And so I flew to Crestview, Florida, met with Tom Hammonds, and bought his program. And from 2007 to 2012, for 5 years, I was the one rolling through the water box, not qualified, DNQ or qualify. And, we struggled. I had Jimmy Oliver building motors, and we struggled. And during that time, Erica was driving for Victor Cagnazzi, and then Jim Cunningham, again, struggling to find their way. That all changed. I sold that program in 2013. I'm trying to make this as fast as I can for you.
I love it. Just so you know, like, this is what people need to understand when they see you out there. They see all these cars. They see they need to know the struggle, and nobody likes to talk about the struggle, but this is the good stuff right here.
And it's just the flat out truth. So at the end of 2012, I sold that program to Roger Brogdon and Steve Kent. They were still in my building, renting my building. And I'd actually kind of decided to just rent engines and do something with Mike Edwards. If you remember, there in 2012, I rented a couple of times for Mike at Indy and Dallas. Actually went to the semifinals myself in Dallas in 2012. And I got the phone call from Jeg Coughlin, who had his own program in Charlotte with the Mopar deal. And I'll never forget it. I was at my ranch. It was deer hunting. He was at the banquet at the end of 2012, and he called me. He said, "Hey, I'm going to go a different direction. I want to sell my engine program." I said, "Have you lost your mind? I just sold mine. Hell, it's still in my shop." And he said, "You're not listening to me. Fly to Charlotte, go out there and look at it and tell me what you'll give." So I did. And I went out there and I said, "Jag, I want to dyno the stuff that I currently own compared to your Dodge stuff." And I had no interest in doing Dodge stuff at the time. Went out there, put my motors on the dyno. That was when Nick Ferry, Jake Hairston, and Roy Simmons were running that deal for Jag. Went out there, dynoed my engine compared to his, called him, and I said, "Jag, the stuff you have is really good." And he said, "Doesn't matter, I'm going a different direction." I worked a deal out with Jag. I bought that stuff. At the time, I met with Nick, and who I'd known for a long time, and Jake Hairston, who I didn't know at all. And I said, "Guys, I'm looking at buying this stuff, but you got to move to Oklahoma." Nick agreed to move. Jake, this is a really good story. Jake says to me, "Hey, I'm from California. I moved to Columbus, Ohio, went to Jag, went to work for Jags. They decided to move me to Charlotte. So I've been from California to Ohio to Charlotte in the matter of 3 years, I believe." And he said, "I'm open to moving to Oklahoma, but I got a question. Where are you located from Purcell, Oklahoma?" And I said, "Oh, it's about 20 miles. He said, "I'm in. My grandparents have a house there." And that's kind of how that deal started. So I bought that program, moved it home. At the same time, during we're boxing stuff up, I get a phone call from Shane Gray. And he said, "Hey, we're in a bind. We don't really know where we're at. We've been in Bradenton. We're way behind. It's 3 weeks to Pomona. Do you have Mike Edwards' number?" And I said, "Yeah, I got it." I said, "But let me ask you a question. If I had something that was really good, would you guys be interested in renting?" And I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but Jag's program, while it would be Mopar, they actually built 2 Chevrolet motors. They were sitting in the floor. We picked one up, dusted it off, drove over to Shane's shop, put it on the dyno. It was really good. And Johnny said to me, "Hey, we want to go run it. If it runs good, would you rent us for the year?" I said, "Absolutely." So they loaded the stuff up. I sent Jake while we're boxing the shop up. We only got one engine, right? They go to Bradenton. He unloads, and I think at that time he goes 646 at 214. They made 2 runs. They loaded it back up. Johnny said, "Can you have another motor ready for Pomona?" We said, "Yeah, we'll stay here. We'll unbox all the shit we've already boxed up." And we put 2 motors together for them. We went on that year. Shane finished number 4 in the year, went to, I believe, 5 or 6 finals, won Vegas that year. And that was 2013. And at the same time, towards the end of the year, Ricky Jones won Pomona. And I made the decision to hire. I'd been working on getting Erica. We hired her for the 2014 season. And, the rest is history. We won the championship in 14 and 15 with Erica, not really knowing where our program was going, but we started with 1 car. Today we have 8, sometimes 9. Like I said, all those struggles coming forward, we put a program together that has been, it's like a dream come true. I got some of the best people, and most of those people are still here today. We've added a bunch. We travel with 50 something people. It's just been ecstatic. We got great customers. We're unbelievably blessed, for sure.
Well, I notice, Jag, you mentioned Frank, the mountain motor, the tie-ins. It seems like now that we know that story, that you're bringing these people along, like the people that helped you. I don't want to say bringing them along like they couldn't make it on their own. That's not what I'm saying. But this is definitely a team or a group that has stayed together. Jeg coming back. You're a big picture thinker. The reason you're on, I've been noticing you on the starting line. A lot of people believe that if you're not growing, you're shrinking.
Yep.
If you bump into the ceiling, right? Like you're just going to stay where you are and be happy. And you don't seem like the type of person to do that. You seem to want to continue to grow and expand. And that certainly worked for you. And I've seen you on the starting line a lot with some cars with superchargers and wings. What's going on there?
Well, I don't think there's any secret. First of all, my passion is pro stock. I love it. I have no interest in leaving that, but we are looking to possibly expand again into Top Fuel. I have on order 2 brand new trailers for Top Fuel. I've ordered 2 brand new cars from the guys at PDRC. And we are going to build the infrastructure while we work on funding. I will make clear that we absolutely will not make that move until the proper funding is in place and the proper alignment with someone to make that program come to realization. So yes, we would like to expand into the fuel ranks. We believe that some of the things that we've done in pro stock with some of the mindset is needed in those 2 classes. Not that anybody over there can't do it. I believe the landscape has changed. And in light of a lot of things and some of the people that are involved in those classes, what's next, right? Where's the future? And I've had these talks with the NHRA. I've had these talks with many team owners in the fuel ranks. Some would agree, some not agree. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. But I believe if something doesn't change and some of the mindset doesn't change, that those classes are going to be in some of the same situations that pro stock was some years ago. So we are looking to do that. Erica would be behind the wheel of a Top Fuel car and drive pro stock. I've had many conversations with NHRA about making that available. We still have some challenges there, but they have agreed to work with us to make that feasible. And so that's what we're going to do.
I'm excited to hear you say that. I think it would be a huge story for the sport of drag racing. Many angles here. Erica, as great as she is, perhaps underexposed for her talents, abilities, and championships, all that she's done because of just the nature of what we talked about at the beginning of the show with pro stock, right? You got to be a little more diehard to love pro stock the way we do. The nitro cars, 330 miles per hour. I would love to see her get that opportunity. And I think it would be big. Would you do this yourself, like this Elite Motorsports? Are you looking to partner with someone who's already in there and kind of learn the ways? How would that work?
Well, I believe that an alignment with a team is a must. And we have talked in length with a lot of different people about a lot of different options. And we have some things that are in the works. I'm partners with Randy Glady with the SCAG organization, and we have talked. Of course, he's got his hands full with the teams that he already owns. So I don't want to, just beat him down to do that, but that is a possible opportunity to align with the Justin Ashley program. I've had many talks with the Torrences, who are great friends of mine, about different things. Had talks with Tony Stewart about possibly, doing something with him, but he has his hands full as well. So friends with a lot of those people and believe that something can transpire some of those folks. And again, we gotta find us somebody that wants to be a part of our program and believes in the in what we believe in. And sometimes that's difficult, but I believe it's an option. And I really believe that, you know, the landscape in those classes is changing, you know, with, you know, just look at what's happened to John Force, and man, we need him out there, right? He is the face of our sport. You know, again, he has a platform that can be expanded upon in my belief. But it takes a different mindset, and I don't really want to get into all that because, you know, a lot of those people probably won't agree with me, but I believe you got to embrace the people that want to do it. And sometimes those people beat you, which we've shown in our own category. So I don't know. I believe that we want to be over there with the right partners.
Well, I think that's as exciting as it can be in this time now where Tony has come over to NHRA Drag Racing and is loving it so much. And we all want this thing to grow. We want it to expand. Many of us don't understand why it's not bigger than it already is, just because of the excitement of the sport. We're out there on the starting line, feeling the power, watching the competitors. And it's just bizarre somehow that people who like NASCAR and Formula One aren't loving this sport the way we're loving it. And so I like where your head's at. Thank you for sharing this great big news on WFO Radio. And I think our imaginations can start to run wild right now, right? Like what would be the best partner? What would be the best way to do this? I am intrigued, though, into some of those ideas you're talking about, but I'm sure you don't just want to give them away and float them out there, right? Like those are your ideas.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that, again, you got a lot of people involved in those classes that are up there in age. And while for so long, even pro stock, proprietary, right? You hear that word, proprietary information. I believe that that some of that has to go away in the sense for something to grow. I believe our sport is, as far as a motorsport, is the best on the planet. And I say that because it is truly a family atmosphere. Where do you go where you can walk in the gate and get within 5 foot of not only the drivers, but the cars? And I think Tony sees that. I mean, we've had many conversations about that. And NASCAR has changed drastically, right? I mean, you look at, you know, if it wasn't for their TV package, they could be in a bind. I don't know that much about NASCAR, but I watch. And, you know, we all know Top Fuel and Funny Car sells tickets. But how many tickets can you sell? So I just have a different viewpoint on a lot of that stuff. And I believe that with some of the big teams platforms, there is availability to help the lesser and create an atmosphere where money's not a problem. And when I say that, it's very expensive to do it, but that's not the part that puts the boundary up for people to the entry to barrier, right? There's a lot of people with a lot of money, but money doesn't always get it done. You have to have people in order to run a fuel car or a pro stock car. And we're not, as a sport, we've done not a really good job of bringing some of those younger people up and helping them be the next Jimmy Prock or the next Guido or the next Erica or the next. So I believe we've done it within pro stock and my team. I look at my own family, you know, Chase, he started working on the back half of a pro stock car. Now he is a crew chief. And we've done that through years of showing and teaching, and from Mark Ingersoll, from Rick and Ricky Jones, just all those people opening their books up. And I see the same thing in Top Fuel and Funny Car. I look really hard all the time at like John Force's program. I look at Jimmy Prock. Okay, you got Austin, his son, fantastic driver, right? John mentored him. Jimmy now has got him in Robert's car. Not only is it Jimmy's got another son, right? And they're mentoring him to be the next crew chief. We have to do some of those things. And not only that, you may have to help some of those other teams. And that's what I believe that I can bring to the table with a mindset like we've had in pro stock. And I believe it's needed over there. That's just my opinion.
No, I appreciate you sharing it. There was a news rumor, who knows what it was, about Michael Andretti having interest in NHRA drag racing. And I thought it was exciting when I read it, but then I immediately thought, who would tune? Who's available? What kind of crew guys would you have? It's already, I don't want to say we're maxed out, but it's definitely tough to find people. So that is a great challenge for the sport to expand. Did you hear that rumor? What are your thoughts?
I saw that. Be fantastic, right? We'd love to have all of them. There's more than just the Andretti's. I've heard lots of different people that have either retired from some of those other areas or can't get a charter or whatever. We open our arms to have them over there. But like you said, got to have people. And if some of these bigger teams don't embrace that, then they can't. It doesn't matter how much money they have. They can't do it. They can't. You don't just show up and go drive one of these things. It's and it doesn't matter if it's pro stock, Top Fuel, Funny Car. It doesn't matter. The driving the car is the easy thing. It's the rest of it. It's the preparation. It's the people. It's the crew chiefs. It's all of those things.
What has been the relationship with the National Hot Rod Association this year? You guys seem to have worked well together. The Pro Superstar Shootout, creative ideas, some of them adopted, right? The 3 qualifying sessions in a day already. Is that something you guys look to continue to do? I feel like you were part of the brain trust. It was not any one person, but is that like a showcase of new ideas? Like how are you viewing that? And they've already adopted a couple of them.
I think so. Listen, I think, first of all, I wouldn't want any of those guys' job at the NHRA. Putting on a show is very, very difficult. That Pro Superstar Shootout took us a year to put together, and we're looking to do that again. But it wasn't about, sticking it to the NHRA. It wasn't nothing about that. It was about trying to help our sport, maybe with some different ideas. And like you said, they've adopted some of those. I think Virginia went really well. That's up to the NHRA whether they want to do more of that or not. I'm fine with it. It keeps you busy in a day, and I think it keeps people in the stands. But again, you can either try different things, but if you keep doing the same thing, you just keep getting the same results. And the guys at NHRA they've embraced us. We have a lot of good things working with them, and I don't see any negative to our sport right now. I think when it comes down to it, it's with the mission, they've done a fantastic job. They have, for the first time, we've got a sponsor for the NHRA that has embraced our sport, and they do a lot with it. And I couldn't be happier with that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the Too Fast, Too Tasties have been
it's awesome.
Greatest thing ever, right? Like the idea you guys have, Greg and Erica, 3 weekends in a row, like race. And Greg has, won those races recently, but I would pay just to see that one run. Like I'm a drag racing fan. I would pay for that one run each weekend. There's got to be other people that agree.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know, I would like to, there's a lot of negative things that are talked about pro stock, you know, oh, it's a pro Camaro deal. And I get so sick of hearing that shit. The competition is unbelievable. Whether you're a KB fan or an Elite fan or whatever, what people need to realize is we have, when Greg and Jason, when it was just them, that was, in my opinion, part of the downfall of our class. If you didn't have what they had, you couldn't compete. And one of the things that both of us have done is give people the opportunity to be a part of either program in order to compete for a championship. And, you know, you look at Matt Hartford last year, had an opportunity. You look at Dallas Glenn, had an opportunity. You look at my guys, Aaron Stanfield had an opportunity. TJ Coughlin had an opportunity. Yes, Erica won the championship, but all of them, all of those guys, whether Elite or KB, they had an opportunity. And you know, you hear all this shit, oh, it's a KB Elite show. Well, is it? I have the Quadras. That's not my program. That's the Quadras program. All we do is help them, enable them to be able to compete at the highest level. And you can talk to Fernando Quadra. He started.
I did. What did he say on the starting line? Did you hear
I don't
that?
even know what he said because he was trying to tell me and I couldn't understand him.
All right. So I did not go back and like pull the clip, and I'm going to play the clip, but he said something like, this is the beginning of a new era. And this shows that there's no more, you know, orchestrating the outcomes. And my son, he won the race, and people can go back on NHRA.tv, but he was driving home a point.
Yep. Well, and the point is correct. When we race, even though there are times that it appears, but we go up there with the thought that whoever drives the best and whatever crew makes the best calls, which are all shared information, may the best man win. I know KB operates the same way, even though sometimes it appears that Greg has something different than the others. What they don't understand is Greg has thousands and thousands of runs. Erica's got thousands and thousands of runs in the same car and the same, all that stuff. And so they're going to shine most of the time. But as you've seen, Erica's got one win and I've got other drivers that have two. You know, we try to make sure that everybody runs competitively. It's very difficult with 8 cars or 9 cars or 5 or whatever it is for all those cars to be within 200s. And I think we all do a fantastic job of that. But what people need to understand is without programs like KB's, like my own, like the McGahays, others cannot do it. Forget about the motors, forget about the cars. It's all about people. And we have took on paying those people full time to allow people that are part-time do it. And anybody that says anything else is completely retarded.
Yeah, Sienna coming over to your team to get a different experience. Has there been an evolution though? Because originally when it was just Erica, the whole goal was for Erica to win. And then as you expand, there's more and then there's more. And all of a sudden everybody is kind of coming up. I think about Play NHRA, this amazing new initiative, which is the fantasy gaming and everything. Are we in kind of a new era where, you know, I've heard you say in the past that the thing was originally designed for the red car to win, but now you got Jag, you got Troy, you got Jags, you got Skag, you got the Quadra family. They want to win all this stuff. Has there been an evolution, and is the sport in a new place now than it was 4 years ago?
Well, it's a constant battle. And I say that because people's mindset, whether it's my crew chief or somebody else's crew chief, is trying to separate personal agenda, egos, out of the equation. And that's my job. You can ask any of my guys, and when we go to a race and Erica runs a 55 and Jag runs a 60, say, I come back and I want to know why, right? Because for me and my platform, I would rather all of my cars besides that red car be faster than hers. Doesn't work out that way, but for a business, that for me is the best way. And so it is a struggle all the time, as I'm sure it is with the KB program or whatever. But it's just something, yes, it is different than it has been when I started in Pro Stock. It was very, very difficult. Like I said, I mean, I rolled through the water box many, many times. You can go back and look where Q4, I'm out, I get in, or I get bumped out. And those are the things people don't want to talk about. And I vowed to change that, and believe I have.
I think it's in a great place right now, and I'm super excited to watch Pro Stock every time you guys roll out. All right, Richard, I promised I'd have you out of here by lunch. So is there anything else that we haven't attacked, something you want to put out there in this moment? Big breaking news that you're going down the road. You've made some purchases or orders to go down the road to Top Fuel with Erica as one of your drivers. That is the recap. But this has been a great wide-ranging conversation. We got a couple weeks off, got 4th of July, headed to Seattle, a little nighttime qualifying, Western Swing. But is there any final thought? Michael Heiner's out there in the chat section, by the way. He says, thanks for feeding the kids the last couple of weeks. What's up, Big?
Yeah, I'm fixing to send that son of a bill. I've never seen nothing like it. I looked up and all of them are over there eating. I don't care. Love those guys. Again, competitors of ours. But when we get off the racetrack, we are friends. And Michael Heiner and his kids are great kids. We love all about that. You know, we were talking before the show started. Our NHRA family is just that. It is a family. I mean, I've got Tony and Leah and Randy Glady and his girlfriend going on our family vacation. We're leaving in the morning. And, you know, people say, well, how would you want to be? Well, we want to be around those people. We have, outside of racing, we have a relationship. We like to go out and eat dinner. We like to talk about different things. And I can tell you, our sport, man, are we lucky to have a Tony Stewart over there? Are we lucky to have a Randy Glady? I don't know if anybody knows about Skag. You know, that guy doesn't know nothing about NHRA drag racing, but he saw how important it was for his dealers and his customers. And it's amazing when you hear him. He said, winning's great, right? But that's not why I'm here. And he has took this sport and embraced it. And I'm telling you, we are lucky to have people like that who have come into our sport. And look at the jobs he's provided. I mean, he's got 3 nitro teams out there. And those people are, you know, they bought into his avenue of business, and it lines up right with mine. And I couldn't be more proud of our sport. So anybody out there that wants to go fuel racing, my number's on the internet. Call me. We'd love to put something together. Jason Johnson with JHG, unbelievable supporter of ours. He will be involved in some form or fashion. And again, his family have been fantastic for our sport. And we love all of our partners. The Mellings left Norwalk, went straight over to Melling, had a car show, had a bunch of Congress people out there about the Cars Act. You know, we work really hard at making our sport great, and we're going to continue to do so.
All right, I got one more thing for you. I just want you, this is an opportunity. I'm going to lob you a softball here, but I want to hear you talk about it. How do you think Erica would do in a top field dragster?
I think she'd be unbelievable. Erica, you know, over the last 5 weekends, she's, I'm quitting, I'm done. Oh God, just hearing it. And I told her just yesterday, I said, Erica, do you know how many races we've won because of you? And just relax, right? There have been years where we've had performance advantages. There's been years, I think you can recall, I think it was 15. Her average reaction time was like 14.
Yeah.
Never red lit. Who does that? So I don't even worry about it. Erica will be fantastic at that. We'll make sure she has the right people helping her. I mean, we've had so many people from John Medlin to Johnny Lindbergh to Sean Langdon to Antron Brown, Steve Torrence. All those guys said, hey, whatever we can do to help shorten her learning curve up, we're in. So that's what our sport's about. And I hope this comes to fruition. If it doesn't, we're not going anywhere. We can sell those assets, no problem. But we're excited about the opportunity.
I love it. No, it's very exciting. And hey, thank you for being available to come on WFO with this. We talked about it on the starting line in Virginia a little bit, and you're like, call me, let's do it. And here we are. And this has been floating around out there. I heard a couple of people like speculating, and now at least the plan is clear for the fans and the media. They understand what you're doing. And thank you for choosing to come on here and share this story with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe, for having me.
Happy 4th of July.
Yep, you too, buddy.
All right, take care. Say hi to those guys, Tony and Randy and everybody. All right, Richard, be well. There he goes, Richard Freeman with us here on WFO Radio. And now it has been floating around in the world of NHRA drag racing just under the surface. Anybody with a pair of eyes could see that Richard was out there kind of hanging out on the starting line during the nitro categories, gathering information, learning a little bit about what's going on, spending time watching, overseeing, and maybe making a decision whether or not this is the road he wanted to go down. And now it is out there. Now, it's not definitely happening, but he's taken some big steps to make it happen. What do you think? Erica Enders to Top Fuel Elite Motorsports with a pair of Top Fuel dragsters. They've been ordered. And what is the right partner for them? Immediately, I start to think, if I was the teams already there, is it Elite Motorsports partnering with another team, or is it another team partnering with Elite Motorsports? They have been so successful throughout their pro stock career. I don't know. I think there should be a line. There should be multiple suitors that want to get involved with Team Elite in the Nitro rank. So we'll see how it goes. This is one of the reasons why you watch WFO Radio. I ask you to subscribe, click the bell. Please share the show. You probably had no idea what you were going to get when you logged on today. And now you know. And I would hope that you would share this show when we get off. And definitely, the question for the YouTube comments section is this: Erica Enders to Top Fuel. What do you think? Are you excited? Would this be good for the sport? Just give me a little thought. You don't have to write a whole essay, but as far as a yes or no question, we know Erica's going to do just fine. What do you think it does for the sport of drag racing to have Team Elite expand into the Nitro ranks and Top Fuel? And I loved that he said that this is only predicated on Erica being able to continue in pro stock, because there is another story out there floating around. And I honestly think that there's a rule in NHRA drag racing, and I don't exactly understand why it is there. Once upon a time, Kenny Koretsky ran Pro Stock and Top Fuel in the same event. And NHRA said, you know what, we can only run in one professional category per event. And so that locked out the idea of Erica Enders running Pro Stock and Top Fuel for so many years. Maybe they're revisiting this rule. And if they were to revisit this rule, who else would be able to walk through the door? I can tell you that the little joking comments that happened in the media center at Norwalk have kind of evolved a little bit. And if you listen to me and Alan Reinhart yesterday, along with Antron Brown, it was really interesting in that Gage Herrera was in the media center. He was being interviewed after his 11th consecutive win. I asked him a question as Bob Tasca watched and prepared to give his interview. And I asked Gage, you've already demonstrated you've got the mental, you've got the physical, you're the right size, you're an intense competitor. If a nitro team came calling, would you be interested in perhaps doing that? And Gage says, I would love to get my nitro funny car license. And Bob Tasca said, call me. Was it a joke? Well, Tasca on Twitter reposted Gage saying that and said, call me Gage. And that's now public. It's not confined to the privacy of the media center where, sometimes things are just flippant little jokes. Could Gage Herrera run a motorcycle and a nitro funny car at the same time? How cool would that be if NHRA decided to loosen up on that rule? Guys, put your comments in the comment section starting now. I want to hear what you have to say about this, but please allow me to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, starting out with these folks.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Foggit is a high-performance fogging oil designed especially for internal combustion engines. Foggit can be used by everyone. If you have a lawnmower, a jet ski, a motorcycle, a tractor, a high-performance car, a classic car, racing vehicles, if it has a cylinder wall, it needs Foggit.
Also want to thank our friends at Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com, 100,000 square feet of inventory in Ocala, Florida. CWT Industries, Randy Neal's company, balance machines. If it rotates, it can be balanced. And if you haven't updated your balance machine in many, many years, now is the time. And of course, a big shout out to the folks at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and our main man who's been supplying the coffee for WFO Radio, Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. And if you want to support WFO Radio at a higher level, getting all the behind the scenes stuff, including Michael Heiner's private pro stock crew chiefing show, become a Patreon, patreon.com/WFO Radio. You can also check out the show. We got a merch sale going on, by the way. Everything's 35% off, guys. Everything. The Miami Hollywood Speedway shirts are the ones that are the most popular, the retro shirts. All right, let's see what everybody has got to say. Lauren, wow, just wow. Yeah, big breaking news program. It's one of those shows that every once in a while WFO is able to go to the next level. I appreciate everybody supporting our program. And there's so much news out there. And it's just got to be about timing. Stephen Frisky, excellent guest, excellent interview. Everybody is loving Richard. Let's see what this one has to say. Erica has a strong work ethic, and I believe that whatever she puts her mind to do, she will be successful. I can't explain it, but her charisma and character speaks volumes about her, says Henry. Here's what I think about it. Whatever you do in life, you need to mix it up, shake it up, do something different. Get a fresh challenge every once in a while. And I think it's time for Erica to have a fresh challenge. Not that pro stock is ever going to be easy. It's not. But I think it's just good for the soul to have a fresh challenge. And I also think that Erica hasn't gotten a fair shake in the motorsports media, which is why I am constantly saying she is the greatest female race car driver on earth. Formula One, Formula E, Formula 3, NASCAR, IndyCar, whatever. Erica Enders is the pinnacle of this, of female race car drivers. And the Formula One people need to know that. And the IndyCar people need to know that. And they need to know Erica Enders' name. And they don't know her name. In fact, got into a little bit of a Twitter back and forth with someone who's like, how come women don't get opportunities in racing? It's like, you don't know NHRA drag racing. The only reason I saw that is because Allie from NHRA was piled in first. But we need to tell our stories better. And what Erica has been able to do in a man's sport against men who are doing this, she doesn't even want to be a female race car driver, but the fact is the fact. And since other people in the world care about this, we've got the best one of all motorsports. And no, she doesn't turn. And big deal. Plenty of top alcohol drivers deserve a shot at a top nitro ride. In my opinion, Elite is coming to win. And I think a Julie Nadis or a Cody Crone could be a great option. Who knows where it goes? Who knows? Like if you're, again, like how deeply do you want to report? Did I see Cody Crone running around in Elite Motorsports jersey this past weekend? Did I see that? So many women in the NHRA. It's the best place for racing, no doubt. Prayers for John. No new update as far as I know on that note. I'd love to see Gage in a funny car. That would be amazing to see. Tony says, allowing talented drivers multiple entry in different classes is a good thing, but can also be a whole new argument waiting to happen over delaying the running orders. True. That is, you get down to the finals. It's live television. Gage Herrera is in the final of both classes. He runs Pro Stock Motorcycle. Now he can't do the winner's interview. He's got to get right on a scooter, get right back up there. He's got to fire suit up into a totally different suit, and he's got to get in a nitro funny car. And now funny cars are going to run last to accommodate him. Except the problem is right before him, Erica's in the final round of Pro Stock, or right behind him, and she's going to be in the final round of Top Fuel. And man, that's a good problem to have. It's a problem, no doubt. It's a problem, but it's a good problem to have because that is an interesting and intriguing story. People would love that story. Following them on the scooter, watching them get suited up, no different than they follow the helicopter when Kyle Larson is doing the double from the Indy 500 to the Coke 600. That is actually the type of stuff that people really like, seeing all that soap opera stuff. That's the stuff they like. Following on the scooter, Erica's getting suited up for her Top Fuel dragster. And, we'd maybe have to build in a little time. I don't know. The NHRA would have to decide this. They would have to decide this. Scott says, I've never seen the sport of drag racing look more promising. Interesting. Dragster Jeff EE is going to be a huge draw for the class. Gage in a funny car. I want to see that. Interesting. 100% want to see Cody Crone on track at more Top Fuel races. And yeah, you saw him working in the Elite pits with that Skag jersey. Oh, says Parker. Interesting. So it wasn't an aberration. I didn't see like, oh my gosh, what did I see? Will you be at Fastlane Friday this month? It is my intention. Isn't there one this Friday? I think there is. Let's see. Who else? I've lost control of the comment section, guys. I have much respect for Richard Freeman. Never really knew much about his person. Richard has done a lot of different interviews, but we had him on WFO, I think, right at the very beginning of our video stream. Maybe it was audio only in our podcast archive and the podcast folks, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, etc. But no, this was a good one. Polarizing figure in the pits sometimes because he's coming to beat you. But at the same time, in the greater context of the drag racing universe versus all, drag racing versus all, I think Richard's a good guy to have on your side. Mike says, great interview. Nothing more valuable than experience. It's all about the people, etc. Thank you, Richard, for this great information. And I think that is a wonderful place to leave us all for 4th of July. And I just want to say to everybody, WFO Radio, it doesn't happen by accident. Been doing this for many years, over a decade, doing the podcast, doing the live stream, doing the interviews. And it's so great that there are more shows happening, whether it be Life's a Drag with the Jasons, the NHRA Insider with Brian Loads. Last night, I saw Justin Ashley on the Power Hour with Dugenet and those guys. And you can almost be listening to drag racing talk and discussion in all the hours that you have available to do so, right? Like, is it quite 24 hours a day? Wes and Mike and those guys also. I don't want to not mention anybody because everybody is pulling the rope as best as they can with this deal. WFO started, we were on the air on XM satellite radio in 2005. It's about to be 2025. And pushing the rock up the hill for NHRA drag racing. If NASCAR can have a channel, NHRA drag racing can have a channel. We've got more drivers, cooler drivers, a greater variety of drivers, cooler cars, faster cars, and I think a more intriguing and interesting sport. You're damn right. We can have more shows about this. And so even if what I bring to the table isn't your bag, we're going to have some guests like Antron Brown yesterday and Alan Reinhart and Richard Freeman. And we have a lot of people on this show that say a lot of interesting things that are about the sport of NHRA drag racing. And I would say for you to subscribe to them all and get a feed full of drag racing talk and hear the different opinions and hear the different people saying their what they think about what's going on as we get closer and closer to the NHRA Countdown. Now, I'm partial to our show because it's directly connected to, me earning a living. And if you were to purchase a t-shirt now while they're on sale, that would be great. The link is in the chat section right now. We've got all kinds of stuff. We got the 2 inches of asphalt star that is up there, which is like a deep reference to my on-the-air mistake. You just like a nice little, star. There's hats available. They're just, I bought a couple. Trucker hat. It's kind of the old school foam trucker, right? It's just okay. But if you really want to support the show, like I always buy them first before I recommend everybody buys them. But the t-shirts and the hoodies and everything are great. But this one, I've got someone I'm going to give this one to, right? Yeah. But that's all available. The link is in the chat section. And one other note, I got to hang out with some of my great friends last night. Guys from Miami Hollywood Speedway that I haven't hung out with in 100 years. And as I looked around the table, each one of them had helped me with Project Pontiac. Each one of them had done something. Gentleman Juan painted my down bars for the chassis. My friend Rick installed motor plate and mid plate. My friend Lee is the one who let me drive his car in Super Street at Orlando Speed World. And I'm looking at these guys and they're all trying to help me accomplish my goal of going racing in Super Street at some point next year. And, follow the hashtag. And you can follow along with everything by subscribing to WFO Radio, either on YouTube. And more importantly, guys, share the show. If you share the show, your friends will know about it. If you see it on the Facebook, if you see it on YouTube, we got a great Facebook group, X, WFO Radio, WFO Joe, all that stuff. Because I think some really good things are happening in the sport of NHRA drag racing. There are more stories just under the surface that I think they're coming out, like this one did here today. And I'm super excited about it. Remember, the YouTube comment section, like not the live chat that we've got going right here. When the YouTube video posts, go back into the comment section and give me your synopsis of Erica Ender's Two Top Fuel. Think of the first time she did a burnout at the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals in a couple of years. 6-time Pro Stock World Champion Erica Enders burning nitro, going 330 miles an hour. The team they would put together, what kind of publicity would that bring to the sport of drag racing? I don't know. I think it's a very interesting storyline. And I'm happy to bring it out. All right, guys. Happy 4th of July. Firework etiquette. Do not hold in hand. Do not hold in hand. It says it right on the deal. Please be safe, guys. Be safe. 4th of July. There's always a story. And I myself may have lit something on fire by accident. So be safe. Happy 4th. We'll be back next week. Alan Reinhart on Tuesday. We'll have a whole week to do some great guests. Who knows what will happen? And thanks to Richard Freeman. And these are just some of the folks who have had success as part of Team Elite with Richard. And they're definitely formidable when it comes to Pro Stock. I think they would be formidable in Nitro. All right, guys. Happy 4th. See you next time. Thanks to Richard for coming on the show. Big breaking news.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.